There's something I should have told you years ago.
The air in the living room was thick, suffocating with years of unspoken burdens. Mama Chisom stood, her hands trembling, finally ready to dismantle the wall of lies she had painstakingly built to protect her daughter. Then, the heavy wooden door creaked open, admitting a man whose shadow seemed to consume the room. When the truth finally dropped, a chilling revelation that Chisom's greatest rival, Stephanie, was not a stranger but her own blood, the world stopped. They were two sides of the same broken coin, unknowingly weaponized against one another by the ghost of a father's past. The envelope lay on the table, a jagged piece of evidence that promised to tear the remaining fabric of their lives apart. As it was pried open, the father, a man once defined by his cold power, shriveled into a trembling shell of regret. He spoke of a third daughter, a child the family believed had perished in the dark silence of the past. But the photograph that emerged, dusty, faded, and haunting, shattered that illusion. The girl in the photo, the forgotten ghost, had not only survived, she had been a silent, protective presence in Chisom's early life in Amukoko, a guardian angel who had been closer than any shadow. In the labyrinthine darkness of Lagos, the figure of the third daughter, Amara, emerged.
So, they finally found out.
She was the architect of their misery, the unseen hand guiding the chaos. The flashbacks are sharp, painful vignettes of a child abandoned at orphanage gates while the heavens wept rain. As Chisom began to connect the fractured memories, a terrifying realization dawned. The anonymous blogger, the faceless entity that had systematically dismantled their lives, was not an enemy. It was a sister seeking to balance the scales of pain. Within the skeletal, haunting walls of an abandoned warehouse, the sisters finally stood face to face. Amara was no longer a myth. She was a volatile, searing reality. Her confession was not just a story, but a weapon. She had meticulously orchestrated the bankruptcy of their father's empire, turning his own greed into the guillotine that ended his reign. As police sirens wailed in the distance, Amara's smile was chillingly calm. She had arrived to finish what the past had started. The empire had fallen, and the family was now stripped bare, exposed to the cold reality of their father's sins. He had traded his own child for financial solvency. In the sterile, unforgiving light of the interrogation room, the ultimate truth finally surfaced. Amara, the girl who burned the world, wasn't fighting for land or money. She was fighting for time. A terminal diagnosis had turned her vengeance into an act of forced, desperate connection. She had destroyed their lives to ensure they would have no choice but to rebuild as a family. As she collapsed, she whispered the final fatal thread. She knew the name of the one who had truly murdered their mother. They had buried an empty casket, a hollow tribute to a mother who was never truly lost, until she was. The village elder spoke of a human trafficking ring, a web of dark commerce that their mother had dared to challenge. The sisters realized they were standing on a foundation built of deceit, and the architect of that deceit was someone they had always deemed a protector. The university office became a confessional, heavy with the weight of long-buried ghosts. Dr. Adenuga, the woman they trusted with their secrets, broke down under the pressure. She admitted to being the informant who had pointed the traffickers toward their mother, not out of malice, but out of a cowardice that had haunted her everyday since. But in her final plea, she delivered the impossible life-altering truth. Their mother had not perished in that storm. The reunion was not filled with cheers, but with the quiet, devastating sobs of a family reknitting itself after 20 years of tragedy. The mother, hardened by survival and shadowed by the memory of those who still hunted her, finally revealed the truth. Their father had been a puppet for the very syndicate that forced her into exile. The final confrontation was a symphony of chaos and redemption. As armed men descended upon the village, Amara pulled back the curtain on her ultimate masterstroke. She had been holding the evidence, the smoking gun, all along. Her revenge had been a diversion. Her true goal had been to lure their tormentors into the light. "The files, madam. We know you have them. Your husband was paid to keep you silent, but he failed. Now, you give us the hard drive, or none of you leave this village tonight. You spent 20 years hunting a ghost. You took my life, my name, and my children. Do you really think I'm afraid of you now? Mama, what is he talking about? What files? He's talking about the truth, Chisom. The truth that cost me my childhood and nearly cost you your soul. You had it? All this time? You were playing us against each other while holding the weapon that could have freed us? I didn't want to free you until you were broken enough to understand what it means to lose everything. Only when you lose everything do you truly see who is standing beside you. I spent 20 years living in the dark to keep you safe, but I only made you target. Take me. I'm the one who signed the papers. I'm the one who took the money. Let them go. You talk about sacrifice now. You traded our blood for comfort, but for the first time in my life, I hear the truth in your voice. The dawn is breaking over the Lagos beach. The sky is a bruised purple and gold. The four women walk along the shoreline, the sound of the Atlantic crashing against the sand, providing a rhythmic, healing backdrop. The air, it feels different today. Lighter. We wasted so much time, Amara. I hated you for things I didn't even know. We were all victims of a game we didn't know we were playing. But look at us now, my daughters. I spent 20 years waiting for this sunrise. I thought if I hid, I was protecting you. I was wrong. I was only delaying the inevitable. Maybe the damage was necessary. Maybe we had to be destroyed to be built into something that couldn't be broken again. No more secrets, no more blogs, no more shadows. From today, we aren't just sisters by blood. We are sisters by choice. The past is buried in the sand. Let the tide take it. They walk forward together into the rising sun, a united front.